Hudson County View, live and uncut. And I'm your host, the only guy that embodies the three I's. That's intelligence, intensity, and integrity. And that's John R. Heinis. And we're talking the latest and greatest in Hudson County news. So, obviously, this week there was no shortage of topics. First of all, we got an interesting one out of the 33rd Legislative District. State Senator and Union City Mayor Brian Stack sent out a mailer trying to get Republican voters to convert to Democrat. So that's an interesting one that you don't see every day, and we get a lot of interesting perspectives on that one ahead of what's going to be a battleground primary over in North Hudson. So beyond that, we're also hearing a little bit in the neighboring 32nd Legislative District. For example, we have Jersey City activist Katie Brennan now teaming up with Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala. So that's going to be a 6-person race where there are 3 different slates, all representing different factions, if you will. So that's always a lot of fun. And beyond that, there's another federal lawsuit, speaking of Union City, filed by Leonard Filipowski, better known as Leroy Truth, talking about his ejections from a Jersey City church and also from the New Jersey State Senate committee that Stack chairs. So that's obviously an interesting one as well. And there's plenty of news out of the Mile Square City, too. We have Second Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher, a candidate for mayor, seeking an advisory opinion from the New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission. So we're going to tell you what that's all about. And also today, I'm going to be sitting down with Jersey City Ward 8 Councilwoman Denise Ridley. So all that and a whole lot more after this word from our sponsors.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis. So again, let's start off with what I was just talking about out of North Hudson, this 33rd Legislative District. So State Senator, Union City Mayor Brian Stack sent this mailer that drew some strong reactions online. As I just mentioned, this was trying to get Republican voters to switch to Democrat for the June 10th primary. So this letter that went out to Republicans in the 33rd Legislative District, that's North Hudson and Secaucus, it said, in part, once again, the political bosses are trying to defeat my 2 assembly candidates in the June 10th primary election. They are prepared to spend millions to stop Gabriel Rodriguez and Larry Weinstein. Their ultimate goal is to defeat me as your mayor/state senator. They don't like the progress we have made, the improvements of the state funding we've secured for the community. How can you help? If possible, I'm asking you to temporarily switch your party affiliation from Republican to Democrat so you can vote for my assembly candidates. If you'd like, I can help you switch back to Republican the day after the primary. And just a clerical point, you're allowed to change your party affiliation through April 10th, and the filing deadline for candidates in this June 10th primary is March 24th. Now, with that said, this is a very interesting race, as I've talked about here a few times before, and Stack and the Hudson County Democratic Organization are supporting Assemblyman Gabe Rodriguez and Larry Weinstein, as he basically said in the letter. And then on the other side, you have Tony Hector and Frank Alonzo, 2 relative unknowns that only the most steadfast and longtime North Hudson politicos would know. But this is something that is going to be bloody. It's going to be quite contentious. You know, those are candidates supported by the North Bergen mayor, Nick Sacco. And of course, these guys have not really seen eye to eye a whole heck of a lot since 2007. And clearly that hasn't changed. You know, I mentioned that this is basically a proxy battle again. It's Stack versus Sacco, Sacco versus Stack, and all that fun stuff that we've seen before. And so getting to the reactions, the one that really blew this mailer up was the Hudson County Executive Director, that's Pavel Sokolov. That had over 16,000 impressions on Twitter as of yesterday. A lot of people quote tweeting, commenting, sharing. And when I spoke to him on the phone, he said, I think that New Jersey has a closed primary system and that members of each party get to elect a candidate to represent their points of view. That goes against the spirit and intent of the closed primary system. If he truly believes he has the best candidates in LD33, there's no reason to ask the Republicans to get involved in the Democratic primary, especially when they have their own candidates in Anthony Valdez and Cindy DePiece. So those are, of course, the Republican candidates for Assembly. And we also heard from one of the mayoral candidates, that's Musab Ali. Of course, that's in Jersey City, but he said political boss asking Republicans for a favor in order to defeat the, quote, political boss is from the mayor, who is Jim McGreevy's biggest supporter, which, of course, we all know that. And we also heard from Katie Brennan, who I mentioned at the top of the program as well. And she said, what message does this send to Democratic voters? Now Dems in Hudson County have no say in who the party runs for office, even elected members of the Dem County Committee. Dem voters should choose Dem nominees, Rep voters should choose Rep nominees. It's really that simple. And I had a moment to hear from Stack as well, and didn't really make too much of it. He said, I'm happy to appeal to every voter in the district so they can help elect candidates who are best suited to serve residents. Instead of complaining, Democrats should be working to get elected. And he took a shot at the fact that Frank Alonso was a Republican until recently, and Tony Hector made note of that. He said Brian Stack is a liar, a corrupt party boss, and a wannabe dictator. And just like his good friend Bob Menendez, Stack has proven he will sell out the Democratic Party whenever he feels like it. So obviously looks like friendly fire is over and we're off to the races in this one. So speaking of Union City and North Hudson, again, we got this federal lawsuit filed by Leroy Truth, a.k.a. Leonard Filipowski. He's this YouTuber that's been in Union City since December 2023. And he's recently taken an interest also in Jim McGreevy in the HCDO. Now, in the past about 60 days, he was removed from a Jersey City church at a New Jersey Senate committee hearing. It's a bit of a long lawsuit. The long story short, he says, regardless of what the rules of decorum are, they do not supersede the First Amendment, our constitutional freedom of speech, and that's basically what the lawsuit revolves around here. Obviously I'm not a lawyer, but it looks like the Jersey City church situation is going to be a little more complex. Obviously that's private property, but the event in question was when Governor Phil Murphy was endorsing Jim McGreevy for mayor. It's going to be an interesting one. And then Senate Judiciary Committee, I think most of you know that the legislature has some pretty stiff and strict, again, rules of decorum, but have they ever actually been, first of all, put into writing, because I couldn't find them, and second of all, would the Constitution still allow for those rules to be in place? So interesting questions here, a lot of questions on free speech, and there's also that pending lawsuit with Filipowski and Union City in Superior Court. So obviously this is a feud that's not going to be ending anytime soon either. Now, before we go to a break, I mentioned Bala and Brennan now are a team in the 32nd Legislative District. And Brennan said in part, well, we continue to fight for truly fair ballots. We're running on the same slate because the residents of Jersey City and Hoboken deserve legislators who will fight for them and aren't beholden to any political machine. This puts us in the best position to win while maintaining our independence. So a move that many have expected for weeks, possibly even months. And it now makes the lineup here at LD32 quite interesting, at least on the Democratic side of things, because you have Assemblywoman Jessica Ramirez and Ward D. Councilman Youssef Saleh running on Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop's ticket. Of course, he's a candidate for governor. And then on the other side, you also have Jenny Pooh. She's the Hoboken Public Library Executive Director. And then you have Crystal Fonseca, the Jersey City Director of Buildings and Street Maintenance. And they have the endorsement of the Hudson County Democratic Organization. The other incumbent, John Allen, isn't seeking re-election, and you have Bala running in his place, essentially. So you got a six-way race for 2 seats. This is certainly going to be an interesting one. You got a very anti-machine sentiment in this district. And, of course, you have 2 of the sitting mayors involved in the race in 2 different capacities. So I think this is going to be a fun one to watch in its own right. But with that, folks, we're going to take another break. And when I come back, I'll be sitting down with Jersey City Ward 8 Councilwoman Denise Ridley.
Panapinto Properties, Jersey City, shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces and addresses your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment, adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at panapintodevelopment.com. Panapinto Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and launch inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
Hudson County View live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and as I said a few moments ago, today my guest is Jersey City Ward 8 Councilwoman Denise Ridley. Denise, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, John.
Of course. So, I enjoy the electoral stuff, as you may have heard at this point. But before we get into that, this agenda tonight has a few interesting items. The one that we've been covering, that I've had my eye on, is this vote of no confidence for the Public Safety Director, James Shea. What are you thinking about this vote, and how do you intend to vote?
Well, I know that this has been an issue lately amongst the council. As anyone who's viewed our council meetings can tell, we've been talking about it for some time. We did have the meeting with the director at my request. We had that meeting, but it still seems that a lot of council people aren't satisfied. And I think at this point, we have to move forward and do something. I understand the need to do something. I guess, disappointment is that we probably will still have those same issues even after a vote tonight, because I want to make it clear it's not a removal, because I'm getting a lot of phone calls saying that we're removing the director. That is not what tonight is. So I think we still have a lot of issues that we have to work through regardless of tonight's vote.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I get it. It's, in a sense, rock and a hard place, because the no confidence is pretty much all symbolic, and removal
Correct.
obviously speaks for itself. And there's
Right.
really no compromise, at least as far as I know. So, but with that, so what do you think, yes or no tonight?
I think that we'll see what the people say. We're here for the people, right? We get a lot of complaints about public safety. We know what those complaints are. I think that they're valid complaints. It is definitely a large department to run. But I want to see what the people have to say tonight, and then that'll sway my vote. But regardless of whether the vote passes or doesn't pass, I think that it's time for us to come back to the table, because we have to get these things accomplished for our residents. There is a problem. There's clearly a problem with public safety. We have tons of issues. So we have to figure out how to handle those for the next 200 and something days.
Yeah, okay. Now, when we're looking at Jersey City Department of Public Safety, between civilian employees, the firefighters, and the police officers, we're looking at what, like probably 2,000 employees roughly?
I would say, yeah.
Okay. And so, yeah, I mean, that's a lot to manage. I mean, there is a police director as well. But
Correct.
with that said, what do you think would you like to keep the Department of Public Safety the way it is if reelected, and, it's Mayor Solomon's council, for lack of a better phrase, next year?
I think we definitely need to revamp. I think that we need a fire director, similar to how we have a police director. If we do keep a public safety director with the two departments underneath, I think that each department deserves their own director. I'd like to see more input from the chiefs who are actually doing the job. I believe that if we keep the current structure with a public safety director, that person needs to be more of the head of the organization and not as ingrained in the day-to-day operations. I feel like our police and fire department feel their hands are tied on certain things that maybe hands shouldn't be tied on, and we need more of the people that are on the ground to make some of those everyday decisions.
Okay, now something you and I have both spoken on at length at different times is about the fire department. Obviously, a concern lately, these firehouses keep closing.
Correct.
And, you proposed one way to alleviate some of those concerns. So just if you could refresh the viewers on what you're proposing and how you'd like to see that done.
So we have the firehouse on Holiday that has been closed for years now. What I would like to do is take those firefighters who are now located at Route 440, Route 1 and 9, and down by Sip Avenue across from the Wonder Bagel, and move them back into the neighborhood, because currently that's nowhere near their firehouse on Holiday. We need to make our response times more efficient, and having them there doesn't help that. So my proposal was to use a lot that JCRA owned on Communipol, which would bring them about 2 blocks away from where they were and put them back in that Bergen Lafayette neighborhood. There are some other options on the table of places that they can go within that same neighborhood. And so we're exploring all of those, and we hope to have a decision, I would say, in the next 2 weeks that we can say this is definitely where they're going. But they will definitely be returning to the Bergen Lafayette neighborhood.
All right, interesting. Definitely keep an eye on that. And then also in this conversation, we hear a little bit about the parking authority, not a lot, but they're also in public safety, as you're well aware, and you have the Office of Emergency Management too. So where do you see them factoring into this equation?
The Office of Emergency Management, that's probably the one area of public safety where we don't get a whole lot of complaints. But yes, I would say if moving forward, we're keeping the entire structure of public safety with a public safety director and OEM. OEM, I feel, does a wonderful job. They're very responsive. They're at all of our emergencies. I believe that we would probably, for the most part, need to keep that same setup. They definitely need their own director. That's definitely an entire department to themselves. And I think that right now, OEM is doing a pretty good job.
And anything on the parking authority?
Parking authority, we definitely have to do better. Parking, we know, is a huge issue here in Jersey City. We get a lot of requests from residents. We get complaints about ticketing. Back to ticketing, the administration did say that they were going to reduce the sweeper days throughout the city, but so far that's only been done in downtown. So I get a lot of requests from residents about that. We're getting a little pushback of switching to that 1 a day on each side, so we need to look at that. But residents are very upset about tickets. We have to make sure that we are ticketing cars on corners, cars on fire hydrants, because those are safety concerns. But parking authority also has to be available to go in front of the sweepers, because we have a problem with that. We're not seeing them in front of the sweepers, and therefore streets aren't getting cleaned.
Yeah. Well, personally, I'd love to see the once a day. I hate tickets too. But with that, folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Just going to take a quick break.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just 1 pass stop away, or a quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Heinis, and I'm still here with Jersey City Ward 8 Councilwoman Denise Ridley. All right, so on to the election, even though it's still a ways off, but
Yes.
November 4th, and everybody's starting early, as you could clearly see.
Correct.
Now, you're running with Ward 8 Councilman James Solomon in a move not everybody saw coming. You even juked me out a little bit, not completely, but a little bit, so kudos to you on that. But how did you end up there, and what were you weighing your options? There was a lot of talk you were running with Bill O'Day. Obviously, that's not what happened, so just tell us the genesis of this re-election bid for the 3rd term.
Well, I sat with all 5 candidates that are in the race. I have a good relationship with all of them. Good luck to everyone. And I think for me, it came down to just what I wanted to do with the next 4 years. I've invested a lot into the Ward 8 community and its residents, and I feel like we still have work to do. So I wanted to return to that Ward 8 seat. I wasn't interested in running at large, so that played a big factor in where I was going to go. And also in my conversations with Councilman Solomon, like you said, some people might be shocked, but we actually worked really well together over the last 8 years. I felt like he had a team that was interested in finding out what the needs of multiple areas of Jersey City are. He's willing to collaborate with me as a resident in Greenville, a representative of Greenville, West Side, and Bergen Lafayette, as he's a representative downtown. So he was eager to get those other perspectives and realize that he would have to manage a whole city, and he needs those perspectives from the entire city and not just his view from downtown. So I thought that that was really great, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with him.
All right, makes sense. Now, at the moment, it's a three-way dance, as it was in 17 the first time you ran, and obviously that served you well. How do you think you match up against the competition this time around, and what could possibly unfold in the coming weeks, months?
I think that experience is important. And of course, that can't always be the case. Eventually, we do have to vote in new politicians. But I think that at this particular time, with so much changing, having someone who's been there for the last 8 years going into this next 4 is paramount. We have a lot of things that we have on the table that need to get accomplished. We're looking to have the groundbreaking on Bayfront tentatively in May. We have my push for a recreation center at Bayside Park and throughout the city. We're working on funds for that. We have this firehouse that I hope to be moved in advance of that. But there are things that we still need to get done, and I think having that continuity from one administration to the next allows for nothing to fall off the table.
Okay. Now, 2 issues that I hear a lot about in the Greenville Ward A area, affordability, which you just mentioned with the Bayfront, but another one is gun violence and just violent crime in general. So, anything you could tell us about what's been some initiatives from yourself and or the administration the past few years to try to address that?
Well, one of the things that we have done is trying to increase the communication between the residents and the police department, because we need our residents to feel comfortable reporting things to the police. The captain's meeting has helped with that. The police captain has a monthly meeting, so we always try to encourage residents to come out to that. We email the flyer, we post it on our social media. Sometimes we even go door to door if there has been an incident in a particular area, so that residents will feel comfortable coming and speaking directly to the police department. We do know that according to the stats from the administration that, gun violence is down, but it's not perfect, right? So there's definitely more that we can do. So just trying to work with our police department to make sure that they know those target areas when people see something, say something, and protecting our residents, because sometimes they don't feel comfortable saying something. So anything that we can do to be that middle person is what we try to do.
Okay. And then something that I recall you spoke about at your kickoff that we haven't touched on is parking. And, we talked a little bit about the parking authority, but regardless, it's tough to find a spot. Frankly, I don't really love going to council meetings, not because I don't enjoy hearing you guys debate XYZ, but because it takes 30 to 45 minutes to park when I get back to the Heights.
Correct.
So, anything that you have on the plate, on the docket there?
Well, for parking, since we've been in office, we've added close to 100 new parking spots to Ward A. Some of the ways we've done that is by putting angled parking on streets that were wide enough. So we took a direct initiative there. We found streets that had no parking signs and no one could really explain why there were no parking signs. There weren't a need for it, so we removed them. We got some parking spots back there. We've looked at possibly putting parking lots in certain areas, but we have to decide how far our residents are really going to want to walk from their house. And we're also now working with some business owners to see what we can do with parking on commercial corridors such as MLK and Ocean Avenue, and discussing those things with some developers that are looking to come to the area to build new retail and housing, and how they are able to make sure that they have parking included in that.
All right, very good. And anything else on tonight's meeting on re-election or anything else you could think of? Closing thoughts?
Well, I definitely need residents to please fill out the survey on the new recreation center. That is available on our city website. If they could go there, if they can go to my Instagram, I will post the link again in my story. Click there. We need your input. We want this to be a collaboration between community, the administration, and the council, so that we can make sure that we're getting residents exactly what they want in their rec centers. So the rec center for downtown, the Heights in Ward A is on there. Please make sure that you go and click there.
Councilwoman, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere just yet. We got one more segment. We'll be right back.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its 2 newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View live and uncut. John Heinis. So a couple more things. Obviously, busy week. So here's an interesting one. We were just talking about LD 32 and what's going on with Ravi Bala, the mayor. And of course, he's a candidate for assembly. Well, interestingly, yesterday, Hudson County Executive Craig Guy, who's also the HCDO chair, and State Senator Raj Mukherjee, of course, of the 32nd Legislative District, came to the Hoboken Community Center, and they announced that there's going to be $2.8 million in grants that's not going to help expand their food pantry, and those efforts are going to go into the Jersey City Heights. And on top of that, we're also going to see all the homes that are there get renovated, and there's also going to be some affordable housing upgrades too. So it's a pretty large encapsulated grant, $1.8 million from the county, $1 million from the state. And obviously everybody was pretty excited about it, as you would expect. I mean, no reason not to be, right? These added funds will allow them to put 10 more affordable units on, as well as allow the 96 single low-income residents to keep their homes and also get some renovations. And again, the center's reach will now go to the Jersey City Heights. So interesting, but you have to the political angle here, because there always is one, or at least almost always, is that Mukherjee and Guy have endorsed Jenny Poo and Crystal Fonseca, as I kind of said in a previous segment. But certainly that adds some intrigue, especially the fact that Bala wasn't there. But you had Hudson County Board of Commissioners Chair Anthony Romano, Second Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher, Councilwoman at Large Emily Jabor, Councilman at Large Joe Quintero, and others. Actually, Fifth Ward Councilman Phil Cohen, too, attending. So quite interesting. So with that, what else do we have? Oh, actually, speaking of LD32, staying on this topic, we have Hoboken Council President Jim Doyle and Vice President Phil Cohen endorsing Bala and Brennan. Not terribly surprising. I mean, a move many could have seen coming once this announcement of them running together came out. But it's interesting, and it does have some value, I would say, because the thing about this, remember, you have 4 city council members running for mayor, and when you have that, endorsements are tough to come by in the other races, so it's going to be interesting to see where everybody else ends up, especially Councilwoman Jabor, who ran with Bala twice in 17 and 21. So other than that, this ELEC complaint, a lot of Hoboken here. Just quickly, Second Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher is seeking an advisory opinion about campaign fundraising practices and contribution limits. So just quickly, I'm going to give you her statement, and we're going to call it a day. This is about upholding the integrity of Hoboken's elections. New Jersey's campaign finance laws are designed to prevent excessive influence by any one donor. There's a loophole that allows candidates to use multiple campaign accounts to fund one campaign or to double dip from donors and sidestep contribution limits. The NELEC must confirm whether this is legal or a violation of the law. With that, folks, we're going to let you go. Call it a week. Have a good one.